journey with Death Stranding has been an extensive one, but in taking my time to finish the game, I gave myself the opportunity to enjoy the tail end of the game with marvelous improvements, thanks to the director's cut. Death Stranding is a game about a courier in a post-apocalyptic type of world. He is tasked with reconnecting the various corners of the map in order to create a stronger chiral network, which is basically a futuristic version of the internet, with 3D projections and large-scale, real-time 3D printing. This is a game developed and created by Hideo Kojima himself, the mind behind the Metal Gear Solid series. And Kojima does not hesitate in leaving his unique stamp on this game, which in my opinion is a good thing. In this video, I intend to give an opinion and review of Death Stranding and to briefly go over the changes made to the game over the years. For starters, we want to look at the graphics for this game, which are absolutely gorgeous, even more so due to the PS5 Director's Cut update, which only costs a whopping $10 if you already own the PS4 disc version. Video games tend to be moving from the traditional linear story path formula in favor of the open world sandbox format. Initially, I was concerned for this approach for the new standard, because I figured games would take a hit in graphical detail. To my surprise, this world is beautifully crafted with great character designs. The visual appeal for this game reaches its heights when looking at the scenery, while lugging cargo around either by foot or by supercharged vehicles. Notable visual improvements from the original to the director's cut are better particle effects for the blood mist generated from the interesting blood-coated ammo needed to fight the supernatural BTs. Also, the weather effects look more believable and dangerous. A weird improvement that caught my eyes was the increased visibility of the cargo on Sam's back. Being able to better see the equipment in the cargo cases adds an unexpected level of realism. A silly question often asked in video games is how does this character hold all these random items on their person? Well, this game allows for carrying of multiple pieces of equipment while literally watching as he lugs them around. Oddly satisfying. For graphics, Death Stranding gets a 9.5 out of 10 due to minor glitches that can distract from the total immersion of the world. Next, let's tackle the gameplay. Death Stranding is a game that is extremely unique and has a core game mechanic like no other. As funny as it may sound, one of the main purposes of the game is to walk cargo from point A to point B without falling over and damaging the cargo. So you will find yourself balancing cargo cases on your back like Jenga pieces, and the wobble effect can make a meticulous person's heart stop. Considering that I make deliveries for a living, I must say this is as close to the real thing as it can get. And even after a busy day of delivering in real life, I still find myself drawn to this world to continue delivering. As if traversing the terrain wasn't hard enough, you will occasionally run into mules who want to kill you and steal your cargo. BTs, which can only be detected by the help of your BB, the baby in the pod, and of course terrible weather conditions, like rain and snow, that have aging elements that damage both human flesh and all delivering materials, including your weapons and vehicles.
Oh, that's definitely stuff.
The fighting mechanics are straightforward but incorporate a cool technique of punching while holding a piece of cargo and letting go of R2 in order to release and throw the container right at your foe, with an oddly satisfying face-to-face connection. Or you could just hit while holding the cargo for heavier attacks, at the expense of the cargo's condition, so best not to use anything valuable to fight with. Driving around makes life much easier, but some places are inaccessible to trucks and motorcycles, so you will have to rely on your feet to get the job done. However, with well-placed structures built, you may be able to get a vehicle over rocky or uneven terrain, or better yet, with well-placed zip lines, you can ride a chiral line at breathtaking speed to fly over most dangers with ease. The director's cut adds some interesting updates that pique my interest in firing this game back up, in order to finish what I started. Included are ramps that allow you to jump over difficult terrain and bodies of water. There are these cool chiral bridges, which I had no idea about until I started the game back up. There are also vehicle updates and jetpacks that allow for soft landing from jumping from dangerous heights. With all these additions comes an increased level of customization to all aspects of the game, from clothes to vehicles and even your BB pod. To further increase the level of customization, there are references to some other games that allow for some unique holograms and other goodies. Also, there are racetracks and a shooting range, both of which add a nice distraction from the base of the game. Hideo Kojima always has interesting characters, which usually means interesting boss fights. These boss battles are either war-driven or of grandeur scale that is a breath of fresh air from the troubles of delivering and allows for complete carnage and the use of a devastating line of weaponry. This game has been referred to as a walking simulator many of times, but when dived into a little deeper, this is a game filled with many original ideas and badass moments. The gameplay gets a solid 8 out of 10. It may be slightly awkward and clunky controls, but it matches the difficulty of what Sam Porter has to do in the game.
Get wrecked!
Death Stranding is a very ambitious title that risks being misunderstood, but that is where the art in the game shines. The story is very strong with some adult themes. It is not until the very end where things really get juicy, so I highly recommend that you carry on right to the end for a complete experience, especially story-wise. Death Stranding runs away with the most original award by far and manages to captivate the mind with deep storytelling and world building. Death Stranding would benefit from a sequel or a multiplayer add-on that incorporates an online versus or at least a two-player co-op mode that allows for the tackling of the campaign together or joining up for boss battles. Overall, Death Stranding gets a notorious 9.2 out of 10.